All right. Well, this is our official countdown to the official top of the hour, which would be 7 p.m. on the East Coast. But I'm in Texas, so that's 6 p.m. Texas Daylight Time, as we say. Hey, D. Scott here, and I'm excited because I get to bring my friend Laura Di Franco in, who is a top-selling author and publisher, Brave Healer Productions. And she has a recent book out, and we're going to be talking about that. And so let's go right into an introduction with Laura. Congratulations on the new book, and I'm going to put it back up here so everyone can see it. It's on Amazon. It is highlighted in the carousel, so the easy thing to do is just click on it. It'll open a new tab. You can hit add to cart, buy multiple copies, because when you read Laura's books, again, she's a best-selling author and publisher. She's done this many times. You're guaranteed to get a good book. So Laura, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And thanks for having me back. I love your show. I love the way you roll. It's fun to talk with you, and especially to talk about books. So I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So let's get right into this current book, because if anyone's watched before, that they know you, but we'll get into that again. But let's talk about, what is this book all about?
Writing in all the ways. We're going to write to heal. We're going to write to build our writing skills, and we're going to write for our businesses. And I've got all three parts in the book. So no matter what kind of writer you are, from being a journaler all the way to writing for your business and actually attracting clients with your writing, I am really passionate about the experts that came into this one, kind of grabbed my hand and said, yeah, we want to help the world write in all the ways. It was kind of like a duh for me, this book, because we had done so many books. We just celebrated Title 100 as a company. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm proud of that. It's been quite a journey. And all the while I'm like, oh, I finally had the idea of writing, and it was like, oh, of course we need to do this book.
So you mentioned this, there's a number of authors, and a lot of the books that you put out, Brave Healer, are made with multiple authors. So you get a lot of different perspectives. So let's talk about the authors that have contributed to this book.
Yeah, thank you. The expert collaborations that we publish are really curated with the reader in mind, in terms of giving you many unique voices and also tools and strategies, because that's kind of what we're about over here. We would love to give you a great book to read, but we want to give you actionable tools that you can practice tonight. In our writing to heal and manifest section, one of my favorite sections in this book, I brought in a lot of different kinds of authors. And, the shout out, I'm going to just want to shout everybody out. Emily Atlantis Wolf is talking about how we use storytelling to heal the past. If you guys have looked into narrative therapy at all, you can Google that. You're going to see some powerful science behind how writing helps you heal. And it's, oh my gosh, we could be here all night about that one. Shouting out Karen Robinson, whose specialty is trauma recovery. So she's written an incredible chapter about using writing to heal trauma. Nicole May is talking about meditative, creative writing.
All right.
And, you writers out there, it's like, maybe you just write for your business, but you never dabbled in writing to heal. So we got some chapters for you.
We just got a comment. Christine Daigle over on
Yay, Christine. Hi, Christine.
Says this book sounds amazing, which I'll say Christine is quite perceptive. Again, people, click. The book is right in the carousel at the bottom here on Amazon Live, and you click on it. It opens a new tab, and then you can just start hitting the plus button on Add to Cart and get your Christmas shopping done before July. You can get
you're
it done
a smart
right
man.
now. Right? It's just like, it's all about planning. And the nice thing is with Amazon is Laura, the thing I like is I can click add to cart and I can send this book to somebody that I know, like my daughter, who is a writer, and having encouragement from other folks in different perspectives is something that I know would be good for her. And I can just click and go, great, send this to Bethany. And within just a couple of days, it's going to show up in her mailbox.
That's so cool.
Isn't this a fun thing to be able to do?
Yes. And Bethany's not only going to love this from a writing perspective, but she's also going to have a community of people to engage with in our books. She's going to have real contacts, real people to reach out to and ask questions to. And I think I'm just very, very proud of our community that comes together in each of these books. This is way more than a book, y'all.
So let's talk a little bit about the structure, because in many of the books that come out of Brave Healer, I don't need to read them from page 1 to the end. I can look at the table of contents and go, oh, okay, what's speaking to me? What do I need? And is writing the same way? Is this book similar to that?
Definitely. Because, maybe you're not into writing to heal, so you want to skip to writing to build your business section, right? Our clients are business owners and entrepreneurs big time. That is probably my main client. And we want to help you with all of those kinds of things. But maybe you want to learn how to write a screenplay and you just want to hop to that chapter. Right? We've got that beautiful chapter by Parushka Moodley. Thank you, Parushka, for writing that chapter. Fiction, nonfiction. Oh my gosh. Copywriting. I love copywriting, you guys. Not like your book is copyrighted. I mean, like writing copy for your business that attracts clients. I love these topics. So yeah, answer is yes. You can go in the table of contents and go, ooh, what do I need tonight?
I was just talking to some folks that were writing advertising for their business, and we were just looking at some of the examples. And this is a gym for small children. And so it's their parents who are the ones that are going to be making the decision. And when I read the copy for the ad, it was just the gym is open, enroll today. And I was thinking, where's
we can help them out.
Right? I believe that you can tell a story in 3 lines, right?
Yeah, you can. I mean, that's brilliant copywriting to bring somebody into your world in a line or two. We were just talking about hooks today in one of the workshops that we were doing. It's powerful. You want to tell a story that helps people know you've got what they want. Yeah. So
let me put this back up. We've got Laura Di Franco, top-selling author and publisher, over 100 books now. Oh my gosh. Brave Healer Productions. Everyone should buy this book for yourself, for a friend, for somebody that needs to heal, has a business, just has stories caught up in their head. In many cases, it's family histories. And we say, oh, I wish we had recorded this. Well, do it today. Yeah. Record your family history. Talk to your mother. Talk to your siblings, your aunts, uncles, the neighbors. Just people are going to be at family reunions. Gather those stories by writing and learn how to capture this stuff.
Yes. What a beautiful legacy book that would be, right? Books are a legacy business. It's more than just words on a page to us. So yeah, I love that. I love that idea. I've been talking to my mom a lot for that reason.
So I'm just going to say thank you to Christine. She has just purchased a copy. So
all right.
There you go.
Thank you.
And so thank you, Christine. That's really nice. Just very kind. And thank you for letting us know. It's just an encouragement. As a writer, when you put your heart and soul into writing, and when you're writing a chapter, I think it's even more concentrated, more distilled, more intense. And so tell us about how you encourage your authors when they're going through the writing process.
I love that you got that just now, because in some of our workshops, I will say to the group, hey, you all have whole books in you, and that's actually going to be easier to write than this chapter you're writing for the book. It's like saying, hey, you could go give your workshop or keynote, talk for 45 minutes on the thing that you love, right? That's easy. But if I asked you to get it into 5 minutes, you'd be like, whoa, how am I going to do that? And that's what these chapters are. I've asked our authors to get their expertise, their signature story about who they are in their life and how they got to where they are today. And then they're teaching a tool in the chapter for you on a particular writing subject. So yeah, they worked hard on these.
I'm going to put you through, I'm going to put you under the pressure here to say, I want you to read a portion of one of these. And as we talk about and I want to talk about the structure of the chapters, because again, when I've read other books out of Brave Healer, these expert compilations, that there's always a structure so that every chapter follows kind of a formula of stories and practical advice and contact information. And you were talking about this community.
Definitely.
And so that's one of the things that I really enjoy, is that it's like, hey, here's my phone number, here's my website. Right? I just want to help. So let's talk about the structure on writing. What are these chapters like?
Yeah, so you're going to get the real vulnerable, real life story of these authors. And, they may have moved through something in their life that had a transformation, had a pivotal moment. There's a scene they want to share with you. They want to help you trust them, because then they're stepping up in the second part of that chapter as your master teacher in some lane of writing, right? And so I always say to them, well, who are you to tell me what to do? You got to get me to trust you first. So give me the vulnerable story. Help me understand your path. And all of these authors are doing that brilliantly. So we have got the story section first, and then the practical exercise, depending on the tool or the strategy that we're sharing. And then, their bio is in there because we want you to be able to ask a question, get support, do that next thing with our beautiful expert authors. Yeah,
I picture every book coming out of Brave Healer is having dog ears, Post-it notes, notes in the margins, coffee stains, right? Because this is a tool book. This is something that you can use over and over again for years to come.
It is. All my books are like that. We added some really cool blank pages with a little feather on them so you could make some notes. And there's also some really cool quotes on writing in this book. I asked everybody to give me their favorite writing quote. Some of you might know the book called On Writing by Stephen King, like the Stephen King. Yeah. It's one of my favorite books on writing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to quote him in my book. And there's so many great quotes. They'll keep you motivated, you guys.
Every author is a little bit different in their style. And I love to study these great authors because it gives you a perspective into how they did it, and then you can adapt it to your style. One of them I think of is Isaac Asimov. And when he wrote his books, and of course they were all fiction books, he always said he knew the beginning and the ending. And as he wrote, the two joined, but he didn't know where it was going to go. And I think what an adventure for that author to be able to do that. Definitely. I like listening to process. And I know there's probably a lot of people who will stalk a process of an author just to see how they do it. And of course, you as a writer and an author will you'll discover your own process. A lot of my healers will talk about channeling their words. Mm-hmm. They connect to a deep space that helps move a message through. And they will say, well, that's coming from something much bigger than me. But there's so many ways to go about getting those words down onto the paper. When we first started too, you mentioned there's science behind this, and I process by writing. I mean, it really helps me clarify things when I'm trying to figure out what's going on in my head, and I get it down into paper and rework it and do all that. Same. Let's talk about the science and what you guys actually do in these workshops. Because one of the things that I would hope is that people who buy this book right here, Writing Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers, and we'll talk about world changers in a little bit here, but let's talk about some of this process that you go through with your authors.
Well, okay, so the science piece a little bit first. There's some really, really cool stuff out there. There's stuff about writing. There's stuff about journaling. There's stuff about writing to heal. There's stuff about handwriting versus typing. There's like, if you're fascinated by this, again, go do a little bit of research and you'll start to see what I'm talking about in terms of the power of writing. And I honestly, I wish I had the quote in front of me, but there is a quote about writing your goals down. And I'll have to go find that one for you later. But some high percentage of people's goals will come to fruition if they write them down. So writing, get it out of your head. It's not real if it's not out loud. And I consider writing it down out loud. So writing and speaking makes your thoughts come out of literally out of your head onto the paper, and you are creating with every word that you put down. It's a lot of responsibility there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just I had just put in the notes, there was actually research out of the Dominican University in California about goals, and I'm hoping that someone can remind me of who the professor was that wrote that, because they actually did research, and it was like several levels. One was Christine says Dominican is her alma mater. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there we go.
That's great. So I was just putting this in, and it was things like, first, step one, have goals, and then step two was write them down. The third was tell somebody about them, because we have to encode that message, which clarifies it for ourselves. And then the fourth level was have someone hold you accountable for those goals. And that's also what I see in the Brave Healer process, is that you're working together. You worked with these authors, but they had an assignment, but it wasn't just, if you get it to me, I'll put it in the book. You had a process. So let's talk about how you keep people accountable.
Well, we do have quite a process, and people will come into our world. They're ready to publish. Many beginner writers and published authors. So if you're a beginner, awesome, I got you, right? You're going to become a better writer as a result of being in our world, because we start with a coaching process that helps you understand how to make your writing come alive. All that boring stuff about grammar and punctuation and perfect. Yeah, we have people for that. But if we can take responsibility for making the writing come alive and setting it on a foundation of energy, of intention, of our mission to help somebody, and we can write like we're writing to that person who's sitting in the room with us that we really want to inspire and help and support, this writing changes everything. I think one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is they try to write for everybody. You know what that's going to do, right? You write for everybody, you're writing for nobody.
Yes. Oh my
So
gosh.
that's the first part of the process, is just coaching that kind of writing. And then, I send them off with their deadline. And they sometimes have freak out moments about that, but it gets done. We definitely have our systems, and they work.
Yep. And in the book, and so if people just go ahead and click down at the bottom of the carousel, click on the book, Writing Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers. And there's lots of contact information in there, not only for the authors, but also for you, Laura, for people to get involved and learn more about Brave Healer Productions. And you have always got projects going on. There's always some place for somebody to get involved, what types of things, where would be an entry level spot for somebody?
Well, we've got multiple expert collaborations to move into. And you guys, we've got 3 publishing imprints. So Brave Healer Productions publishes for you if you're a holistic health and wellness professional. And that's the niche, because I am a holistic health and wellness professional in my background. But Brave Kids books, if you want to write for kids. And we also now have Brave Business books, because people in my world are not doing business as usual. They were a little afraid of the word healer. So I'm like, listen, guys, let's do Brave Business books, because I know you have this holistic aspect to how you see the world and how you see business. So when you come into one of our expert collaborations and get coached all the way through to the Amazon best-selling launch, we're helping you understand the process. We hope you go on to do a solo authored book. All of you have a book in you, a whole book, probably 10 books, right? You know this, D. Scott. So an entry level to be in a collaboration is so cool. You learn everything. You're in a community doing it with other people. You're not alone. It's fun. There's networking. There's fun stuff to do aside from, your writing, meet people, build your business, all that good stuff.
So I'm just going to go back into the comments. So we mentioned that it was Dr. Gail Matthews that did this research on goals. And if someone wants to reach out to me, send me an email. I will send you back the PDF that she wrote on goals. It's something that you have. So here's the deal. Christine says, Gail Matthews, no way. She was her advisor.
Get out.
That's her alma mater. Anyway, isn't this I love the size of the world.
Yes.
I love being able to connect to people and to find these spots. All right. Oh, and Christine put it in the Amazon comments. Oh, and it says this message has been hidden because Amazon don't want you to go to someone else's website. I understand that. Amazon, we're good. We're good with that. Reach out to me, scott@dscottsmith.com. Send me an email. We'll get that PDF to you. So, Christine, thank you for that. And Laura, have I given you enough time to think about a section that you would like to share?
I do. I have a little piece of the intro that I'll read for you guys.
Oh, perfect.
It's a great start. I write to feng shui my soul. There are 18 notebooks in a dusty plastic bin under my bed. Every single journal I've filled since I was 15 years old. Maybe it's time to burn them, I think. That might just be the ultimate way to feng shui my soul. But when I spend time with myself on those pages, the oldest 4x5 yellowed ones or the newest custom spiral bound masterpieces, the answer is always not today. I'll leave it there for that short little excerpt.
There we go. That's a great part into the introduction, and it just kind of leads in to these other chapters. And let's have you just share some of those chapter titles, what they cover, so people know when they go when they add the book, Writing a Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers. They click add to cart, and it shows up at their house. What are the topics? So we've got healing, we've got writing for business.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the right to heal. So in Build Your Writing Skills, you've heard of storytelling, right? But have you heard of story showing? That is chapter 6, written by moi. Chapter 7, Time for an Editor. Chapter 8, Writing Your First Children's Story. Number 9, Creating Art from Life. Chapter 10, Fiction Writers Lie. I love that one. We've got Tesla 369, Poetic Power Time, a poetry chapter in that section. And a couple of the ones from the business section I'll just go over. Oh, by the way, we've got a beautiful songwriting chapter. Your life is your song. Your message is boring, comes from our speaking coach. Yeah, I mean, they have a sense of humor, we've got some really good chapters. And in part 3, ghostwriting unveiled. Anybody want to
Hmm.
learn how to do ghostwriting?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, there's many more, Scott.
Oh, that is great. So poetry and songwriting, these are often so specialized that they don't get included into books. So people, yeah, they'll buy a book on how to write a business book or how to tell a story, how to write your fantasy fiction young adult novel, right? I mean,
Exactly.
about vampires, right? I mean, that's that's
Exactly.
you're gonna be a bestseller. That you got to have that. So, um, but music, writing music, is a specialized form of poetry. But poetry itself, they often get lost in today's busy nonfiction world. So tell us about some of these authors.
Mm. Well, these pieces are some of my passions. I'm also a poet. The book starts out with a poem. Stephanie Urbina Jones is an incredible singer songwriter in Nashville who wrote our songwriting chapter. My experts are other level humans. They're doing really amazing things in the world. I reached out to her for this book and I'm just like, "Girl, please come in and help us write our songs. Like, what do you want to tell us about this?" There's people who want to live that dream and they just really don't know where to start or how to do it. They just, and so she's an incredibly inspiring person. And so she wrote a beautiful chapter about that. Our experts, Karen Black, is going to talk to you about the power of storytelling in terms of gaining publicity for your business. Every entrepreneur needs that, but they don't always know how to go about it. So these are people who've been around a minute. They have some experience in their areas of expertise. So, yeah, who else do you want to know about? There's so many.
Well, when you talking about the business owners, and those are the folks that I talk to most often, and I am not exempt from being caught up in my own product, right? And in many times, I think we end up sounding like Tim Allen is Tim the Toolman Taylor in Tool Time, right? Where it's just all about the specs. Oh, it's got this much power and this fat, this speed and these things and all that stuff. But the person whose problem it solves, they never hear that story of how their life will be better, how they'll feel better about themselves, about their relationships, about getting up and going to work on Monday morning, because they understand what this is. So let's talk about storytelling in general. What do we need to know other than buying the book, which is the first step? Buy the book. Buy the book.
Stories heal. Stories transform. Stories are how we connect with each other. Stories are how we connected around a campfire eons ago. It's the original place of connection. And in sharing our stories, we become or reclaim our worthiness. We realize our purpose on the planet. This is big potato stuff here when you want to talk about storytelling. We're not going to go anywhere less than deep when we talk about storytelling in Brave Healer Productions, So it's everything. It's everything to us as a community. This is how the empire has been built, really, is to help people be brave about their stories. You know what paralyzes my writers the most? Feeling like their story isn't bad enough to share. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Right. What if your story of triumph, of victory, that other side, the other end of the spectrum, was what someone needed to hear to have their life changed? And here they are thinking their story isn't tragic enough or bad, So you got me started.
Well, and having read a handful of Brave Healer Productions books, the stories from your experts, everyone's going to find something that resonates with them. You're going to be able to identify with a person. Not exactly, because we can't fit into everyone's exact story, but we'll have lived similar experiences. We had the same type of relationships, the same time of schoolmates, of work experiences, of neighborhoods that we lived in. Humans are the same. Even though the technology changes around us, who we are as organisms, our psychology has not changed. And this is one of the things that I see in your books, in the Brave Healer books. And so I want to start talking about world changers, because this is writing. It's a Brave Healer's guide. And again, you don't need to read this book from beginning to end in order. You can jump around to what works for you, whether you need writing for healing, writing for your business. You have a song that's been rolling around in your head that you want to get out, or poems. It's all right here. Click add to cart, and send it to someone you love. Send it to someone you know that said, I would love to write my family history. I would like to write better ads for my business. Whatever it is that you're doing, maybe it's writing better greeting card messages. Just buy blank cards. You don't need some other poet. You didn't learn poetry right here. So definitely. World changers, that's a big word. The stuck at the very end. How did you do? What's going on there?
Well, my authors are changing the world because they're brave enough to share their stories, first of all. Stories that they may have lived for a while and never shared out loud are being published in books where other readers can see themselves and realize they're not alone. And I always tell authors, one sentence, one paragraph, one chapter, if that resonates with somebody and helps somebody, you just changed the world. If writing the chapter helped you heal, you just changed the world. So, we start with ourselves and then getting it out loud to help somebody else. That, again, big potato stuff there.
Big potatoes. That's a good phrase.
It's one of my best favorite sayings.
I was just thinking about your author from Nashville and songwriting. So let's talk about, because you're talking about world changing. There's a person who is in the heart of the music of the world. I mean, there's other places, Austin here in Texas, but there's nothing else like Nashville. And if I was going to pick someone to teach me about songwriting, Nashville's at the top of the list. So let's talk about world changing for a songwriter.
Yeah, yes, it is. And just mega gratitude to Miss Stephanie Urbina Jones for saying yes to being in this project. She's also a leader in the Brave Healer community with 3 collaborations of her own in the Shaman Heart series. They are shamanic healers, amongst other things, amongst her being an artist and a musician, touring the country with their beautiful music. But when you scribble down little lines on your paper and all of a sudden it's more than that, and you're looking down at that and you're like, wow, this sounds like something. This looks like a poem. This sounds like a song. And you're kind of feeling that feeling, right? And so she just comes in with this chapter and says, yes, yes, this, you just get it down. You just feel that thing in your body and you move those words out. And her stories are so incredibly vulnerable and personal. They help you, I think, come out of your own shell, so to speak. And all of these authors are, that world changer word is used seriously over here because it's difficult sometimes to share stories. You hit publish, we have a thing that we call post-traumatic publishing syndrome, where you hit go and you realize more than your mom and your BFF are going to actually read your story. That's right. And that's what all of them are doing. So, yeah.
I remember back when MailChimp, and that's a email service, so you can send out to your lists, right? And I was using them, and this is back a number of years ago, and they were fairly early on at the time. And you'd write your email, and then you'd hit the send button, and it had this little. Remember, it's MailChimp, right? So they had this animated big red button with this chimpanzee hand. That's sweating, right? It's just sweat is just pouring off and it's like, are you sure you want to send this? So this is what I imagine when you talk about that stress that of you're submitting your chapter. I have done the work. I've put in the hours, the sweat, the heartache, probably the tears, those public and confidential conversations that your authors have had to get to that moment. What's it like for you, Laura Di Franco, as the publisher?
Well, I published this one, and I also happen to be the lead of it, right? I am not the lead of all of our collaborations, but when it is mine, it feels like a baby. And it's funny, you're making me think of one of our chapters, John Jaramillo. I'll shout you out, John, for a second, because he did a chapter on proofreading. Like, who cares, right? Proofread what? But I read his chapter and I had an aha about our work as a publisher. He was talking about impact. And when you go through a proofing process, the editing and the final proofing, and you're birthing your baby, right? That is when you open it up and you look at the pages and they're beautiful and the visual is beautiful and the proofing was perfect. You know, we like to get over perfectionism around here, but when it comes to a book, you got to try to get as close as possible. So it's a little bit stressful there. And so some days are like that for me, a little stressful. I want it to be perfect. I want it to be beautiful. And then other days are just, I'm full of gratitude for these people, the community. I am proud of myself for not giving up on the bad days, you know? And so this whole ride has been incredible. Meeting people like you, just being able to talk to people who get it and love it and want to help me share them like that too is phenomenal.
I always learn, Laura, when I talk with you about these books. Writing The Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers. If you're looking at this screen, right below that, there's a very similar image. There's the book, Writing. Just click on that link. It's going to open a new tab, and it's going to give you all the details on this book. Hit add to cart. I guarantee you that this is one of those things that you should be doing this summer. You should be writing. And whether you do journaling like me every morning, I'm big on habits, routines, and rituals. And rituals are those things that mark transition. And I love to begin my day by I have a chair, I've got a book, I've got a special pen, right? I mean, there's these things, there's this that kicks off my day. And I don't feel like my day has begun if I don't have that kind of a transition from I was sleeping and now I'm entering my day. And so what kind of advice do people find when they read Writing for World Changers?
Well, the chapter that I want to share about you just inspired the share, and that is chapter 2. I typically would write chapter 1 in my own books, but this time it was number 2. There's a reason for that. You can figure that out later when you buy the book and look at how we positioned it. But chapter 2 is Write Your Dream Life, 3 minutes to manifestation. You're talking about a morning writing ritual that can change your life. And you you were saying, I have my special space. I've
Mhm.
got my pen. I've got, yes, yes, yes. And then as soon as you begin to put words onto the page, you're creating your life. What do you want to create? And I am writing an entire book of the same title, Write Your Dream Life, right now. I wanted the chapter, I just had to get the chapter out so people could understand what was possible with journaling. Little old journaling in a notebook, people. You will be amazed at what's possible when you get the energy, intention, and the writing aligned. So that's one of the things you're going to learn in chapter 2.
Well, and I encourage people, go to the dollar store, spend $1.79 and get a spiral notebook. Doesn't need to be
Yeah.
fancy. That's all you need, right?
Exactly. I go to Target on right before school starts in the fall and get the spiral. Yeah. Or at Target, Staples, you can
Right,
go to
right. I mean,
Walmart.
you can get the moleskin books, you can do all that stuff. But the main thing is to get started and be consistent. And I encourage people, if you're thinking about writing a book, maybe you have some expertise. People come to you and they say, "Can you help me with?" Maybe you have a chapter in you. Reach out, and here's what you do: buy this book. All of Laura's contact information is going to be there. You can connect up with her. You can become a part of the Brave Healers community, and the other authors that you resonate with, they're going to have their contact information there as well. So just by buying this book, you have already stepped into an entire ecosystem of people who are going to help you. And I often say, surround yourself with those who will not let you fail. So we've talked about the community. We talked about the book coming up. We talked about this book specifically that we're focusing on right now. Lots of chapters. It is a guide. Lots of different chapters for whatever you are writing, from poetry to advertising copy, fiction, nonfiction, songs. It's all right here. Writing the Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers. The other thing that I recommend right now is click on the link down right below this chat. It's going to open up a new tab, and then Laura's name is going to be there. It's a hyperlink. You can click on it in Amazon and follow her as an author, because then every book that comes out under Laura's name, you'll get notified. And so you want to be there's already 100 books from Brave Healer. Congratulations.
We published a couple of books. Oh my gosh, you guys, go get the notebooks. I ordered a bunch from Amazon the other night. They were all stars and moons on the front, and they were great. I go through notebooks. You'd laugh if you saw my desk right now with the amount of notebooks I have.
I don't think that I would. I think our desks are very similar. They must be sharing some quantum space here.
I love, okay, chapter 19, y'all. A book in your head isn't a book. So I'm going to shout out Dr. Oliver T. Reed, who's going to get you writing your book in 2 weeks. Like, you're going to get the book out of you if you meet with my friend, Dr. Reed. Okay. And if you have always wondered about writing grants, we've got a grant writing chapter in this book. Really amazing woman, Elizabeth Swibel. Thank you, Elizabeth, for stepping up and helping us with this. You need to understand how to do it when you're starting.
So grant writing, this is one of those things I encourage people, be involved in your community and be involved with these nonprofit organizations, because they need volunteers. And if you have any skill in writing, buy this book, Writing Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers, because if you are involved with a nonprofit organization, I guarantee you they're going to need money. And there is money that's out there, and there's never a lack of money for the right story. So learn the story writing, go to the grant writing chapter, write the grants. Doesn't matter if it's $100 or $100,000, whatever that grant is. you're going to make a difference in your community by doing that. And this just goes, Laura, with the subtitle of the book, for world changers. And it doesn't mean that you have to change the magnetic field of the earth. It could mean that that a child in your local community can get a set of books that wouldn't have been available because they didn't have the money to do that. So we can change the world in many different ways.
We can.
So let's talk about some more of these authors that you have.
You know, I'm glad you paused on the grant writing, because it made me think, you're getting 24 little writing workshops in this book. Think about that at the price of this one book. And that author who wrote that chapter is giving you strategy that you'd have to get in a paid workshop or by hiring somebody. It's worth the price of admission in this book, that one chapter. But every single chapter is like that in this book, and all of our books. That's how we craft them. So it gets me excited. I love these chapters. Valerie Costa did a chapter on magazine writing, right? Maybe you want to do your personal essay. So Corinne Santiago is going to teach you how to write that personal essay. We have the, oh my gosh, what was the one the blogs. So if you're a blogger, the chapter on blogging is going to change your game. So that one chapter, right? If I love blogging, I've been a blogger for a long time.
I just, as you continue to talk about these chapters, as you said, all these different workshops that are contained just in the book. Hit add to cart, click the link down below. It'll open up a new tab. You can hit add to cart. You can send it to a friend. People that are watching this live or in replay, you know somebody that writes a blog, that wants to write a blog, that has songs in them, that should be writing grants. Okay, so I guess the easier thing would to say, what did he not cover in this book? I don't think you can say what's not covered, because you've covered it all.
I did. I tried to get a little bit of everything in here. So I'm also a certified content marketer with Smart Blogger. And so I have a passion for copywriting and for helping business owners write words that are impactful, that help them build their business. So you're going to have multiple different kinds of chapters, but the one that is called "Do They Want What You Sell" is one of my favorite chapters in this book, because I'm going to break down how you do that, how you think about it, how you think about your ideal client, and how you write to them. And I love that chapter. I mean, I wrote that one, so I guess I have to love it, right? But there's one, I told you guys about the screenwriting chapter. That also, there's a lot of people who would like to maybe try that out. Maybe they've dreamed about writing a screenplay. They don't really know where to start.
I will remind people that this is the absolute best time ever to be alive, because the barrier to entry is just your willingness to participate. Do you want to write a book of poems? Then here's the instruction manual for you. If you want to help your local nonprofit, write a grant for them, or help them write their blog or newsletter. All of the instructions are right here in this book, Writing a Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers. You can change your world. And all that it's required is that you choose to participate. Click add to cart, buy the book. In a couple of days, people are going to have so much fun this summer writing. And
I'm thinking of the high school, your high school kids or friends who are in they're doing journalism. There's a beautiful chapter about that. But anybody who who has started to write, loves writing, this book is going to be an incredible gift for them at whatever age they're starting to do writing, right? I remember high school and then in college too. So your journalism majors, your writing, right? Your business majors, they're going to get a lot out of this book.
Well, and everyone who has to write a application to a college.
Yes.
Right. So you want to get into school, buy this book. Okay. So people are watching.
I love that you brought that up.
Add to cart, add to cart, put in your favorite student's name and address, send it to them in a couple of days, give them a call and say, I sent you a book because I know you're interested in getting into these colleges. This is going to help you tell your story, to write formally, informally, whatever it's going to require for you to get in. So it doesn't matter whether you're looking at getting a bachelor's of fine arts or a mechanical engineering degree. You have to write. Everything is written. And so you can't pick up a product without having, somebody had to write the copy for the back of this water bottle, and
yes,
somebody wrote it, right?
Well,
and
it's communication.
They got paid to do it.
Yes, they did. They got paid. That's very important. A little tidbit there, isn't it?
I just say, so people think, what is this all about? Laura, wrap us up. And I'm just going to remind people, Laura Di Franco, top selling, number one selling author and publisher. Number one. Not a lot of people have number one next to their name. Laura's got it many times over. Brave Healer Productions, writing the Brave Healer's Guide to World Changers. It is in the carousel. Click on the carousel. It'll open up a new tab. Hit add to cart. Buy multiple. Keep a couple of copies at home, because then when you're having a conversation, take it out and go and write a little personal note. You have a story that needs to be told. Laura's book, Writing, is exactly what you need. Let me just write a little encouraging note and give it to them. What a great opportunity to connect with a friend.
Such a beautiful gift to give with that note when somebody has a story to share. And that's really the wrap up, Scott. It is, maybe that thing that you're still a little afraid to share is exactly what someone needs to read to change or even save their life. It is time to be brave. Your message matters, and writing it will change the world.
Well, if people follow me on LinkedIn, they know that I truly believe that. Right underneath my name, it says one conversation can change your life or change your business. Perhaps it's one book. Maybe it's the one sentence that you write. And I'll have you close us out with a few more words of inspirations. I'm just going to tell people that they may see behind me this little thing says The Waco Experience, an American Story. That is my podcast, which starts out as a radio show broadcast here in Waco, Texas. The broadcast towers reach from Dallas to Austin, but the podcast reaches everywhere. And you can find that right here on Amazon, The Waco Experience, an American Story. Lots of inspiring stories from folks in the community here, but they are stories that resonate with communities all across the country. And so the Waco Experience American Story, I encourage people to click on that and subscribe right after they have clicked on Writing a Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers. Laura, close us out with some inspiring words.
Well, by the way, everything has been written before, but not by you. It is your unique message, and only the way that you can write it that is going to change someone's life, right? Your message matters. I hope you share it. Come find us if you want to ask questions, get support. All of the authors in writing are there for you. Your new writing community awaits, you guys. Fantastic.